Hello. We are going to be talking about Fort Caswell today. So I just kind of want to go through what we're talking about. If this is a YouTube video, I'll probably have it kind of chaptered out at the bottom. First, we're going to talk about what is Fort Caswell. Second, I'm going to discuss some stuff that the parents need to know. Third, we're going to talk about some of the rules, along with the packing list following that, the schedule following that, and then stuff for the chaperones. So let's get to it. For a lot of you, this may be your first time hearing about Fort Caswell. For some of you, you've probably heard me blabbering on about it because it was a huge part of my life. Fort Caswell is a retired Civil War fort that was bought by the North Carolina Baptist Assembly in the mid-1900s and was turned into a youth camp. It is located on Oak Island, North Carolina, on the east end of the island, as the island runs west to east. It's about 30 minutes south of Wilmington, across the river from Southport, and from the island you can see Bald Head Island. So I attended Fort Caswell as a kid from about 6th grade through 12th grade every summer. I felt the call to ministry while I was there. I worked there for 3 summers from 2013 to 2015, and then I came around full circle and brought my previous church there, and I'm really excited to take Broadus there. The theme this summer is called Worth It. We'll basically explore what the purpose of the church is. Is it worth it? You know, am I worth it? Is Christ worth it? Is all this that we're doing, is it worth it? The theme verse that tags along with this is Acts chapter 20 verse 24. But I consider my life of no value to myself. My purpose is to finish my course in the ministry I received from the Lord Jesus, to testify to the gospel of God's grace. So our camp date runs from August 1st through the 5th. That is a Monday through a Friday. So the price. The cost per head, per child, to go to Caswell this summer is $275. And that is an early sign up, turn in all your stuff discount. On May 1st, the price will increase to $300 per head. Now, as always, there are discounts. So if you have 3 family members, if you have 3 kids in one household that are going, your 3rd kid is 50% off. So in other words, if you have 3 kids going, you're paying for 2.5. If you have 4 kids going, you're paying for 3, and so on. And as always, chaperones go free. So for the parents, for those of you who are very nervous about your kid going off to camp, maybe this is your first time. You have a kid going up into the 6th grade, or maybe you just started attending here at Broadus and your child has never gone off to camp and you're just a little nervous, you know? I can understand that. So the event staff, which is called Be Do Tell, they have created this packet. It should look something like this, and it is a parent camp connection, and it basically tells you how to relax. It tells you how to focus on what positives can come from this week. Along with that, it talks through basically what your kids are going to be learning from day 1 to our last day. It goes through all the different details and shows you what our kids are going to be learning while we're at Caswell. I would highly recommend you look through it. So parents, what do I need you to turn in? I need 3 things from you. The first is our digital Broadus Youth Ministry form. I'll put the link down in the description. If I'm able to, I'll put it somewhere on here where you can click and it can just take you straight to it. You fill it out. For this event, I will need the health insurance information just in case. But if you are a If your kid regularly goes here, I don't need all the extra information at the beginning as far as parental information, cell phone numbers, all that. If your kid regularly goes here, I already have that information. You can just skip through that. The second thing I need from you is a Fort Caswell form. Should look something like this. There is a front and a back, and at some point I will need a notary because there is a third sheet that I didn't print, and I will need a notary to sign off to say that the parent signed this, and we will staple it and then send it to Fort Caswell with us, and we keep an extra copy. The third thing I need is the money. So, as I said before, the price per head is $275, and that is any time between now and the end of April. As of May 1st, the price goes up to $300 per kid. This includes housing, the event, like the program, you know, the music, all that. And it also includes your kids' meals while we are there at Fort Caswell. So Fort Caswell actually does have their own rules that they would like me to go over.
Welcome to Fort Caswell. We're glad you're here, and we hope you're ready for an exciting week of camp. There's a lot of fun in store for this week, but all good camps have one thing in common: good rules. To assist in learning these rules, we've enlisted the help of 4 random summer staffers. You can always identify a Fort Caswell staff member by their blue shirt and khaki pants. Now, let's get started. Drivers, remember there's a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit on campus, and you must park your cars so as not to obstruct the roadway. It's also important to remember that all passengers must sit down flat in truck beds, with no part of their body hanging from or off of a moving vehicle. Caswell wouldn't be the same without swimming at the pool and beach access, but it's important to know that both areas are open from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. only. These are the only times that lifeguards are on duty, so make sure you plan accordingly. Swimming anywhere else on campus is extremely dangerous due to the swift current and the active commercial shipping channel. If you plan to fish from anywhere on the property, remember North Carolina law requires that you possess an active North Carolina saltwater fishing license, which can be acquired inexpensively at nearby stores. The reception center is where you will find a Fort Caswell staff member ready to help you 24 hours a day. If you lose your meal ticket, you may purchase a replacement ticket here. You may also purchase kayak tickets and 5-pound bags of the highest quality frozen water. Historic fortifications dot the landscape at Caswell, and they can be fun to check out. Just remember, you have to have a chaperone aged 18 or older in order to explore the forts if you are under the age of 18. Additionally, at dusk, no one is allowed to be on the forts. Sudden drop-offs and uneven surfaces make it a dangerous place after dark. Speaking of nighttime, remember that camper curfew is for you to be on your building's porch by 11 p.m. and lights out are at 11:45, so that you can get the rest you need for another full day. Just maybe not by resting on your building's porch. Probably not a comfortable situation. You're probably going to be staying in pretty close quarters with other people this week. Always ask before borrowing something, and remember to respect people and property. That includes not littering and respecting Fort Caswell's buildings and furnishings. Lastly, we have a list of prohibited things. No firearms, fireworks, drugs, alcohol, ATVs, water balloons, shaving cream fights, or dangerous tomfoolery. Stick to the rules and you'll have a much better chance of enjoying your week. You might even find yourself sitting on the pier, laughing and waving for no reason like these guys. Who knows?
And of course, I have my own rules. So there are consequences if you break one of my rules. There's 3, really. The first is a minor rule break, first level offense. If you're slightly late to something, your minor rule break, the offense is that you have to spend some of your free time with a chaperone. A second level offense, which is a major rule break, your parents are going to be called and they have to come pick you up within the next 24 hours. The third level offense is a major rule break, and I mean a major rule break, and that is where a parent has to come and pick you up, and you're also banned from the next indefinite amount of trips. So let's get on to the packing list along with Fort Caswell's dress code. Caswell has a very strict one-piece tankini rule only. No two-piece bathing suits, bikinis, and for guys, no Speedos. They also request that you not wear t-shirts with clothing with offensive language, any offensive advertisements, or un-Christ-like advertisements or pictures. So the packing list should be in the parent folder on the Google Drive. Should look something like this. I'm not really going to go that far in depth with it. I would recommend that we'll look at the weather about 1 week prior, and I'll post it into the parents' Facebook group, and that will determine whether or not your kid should bring a raincoat. If you look under miscellaneous, it says a bag chair or a sports chair for Fort Worship. I'll talk about that in a second whenever we go through the schedule. Under optional, you see money. There is 2 places that you can spend money on campus. One is called the PX. It is an old Civil War post exchange that has been turned into the gift shop. They have sweaters, blankets, t-shirts. They have magnets, picture frames, tons of stuff. There is also an internet cafe is what they have called it. When I worked there, it was called the Drift-In Cafe. But basically, it's an internet cafe where there are some computers where people can access the internet if you need to. By the way, side note, there is Wi-Fi all over the place. If you really need a strong connection, I would recommend going to the conference center. Anyways, this internet cafe, they have smoothies, coffee, all that different stuff. So what does the schedule look like for us? We will be meeting here at Broadus at 8:30 a.m. and we'll be leaving at 9 on Monday, August 1st. We'll be stopping for fast food lunch along the way somewhere. I'd recommend about $10 for there, $10 on the trip back whenever we stop along the way for lunch, and maybe $30, $40 for the gift shop. We'll arrive at Fort Caswell around maybe 2:30 p.m. on Monday afternoon. But let's look at the schedule for Fort Caswell. You should have the schedule in your parent packet on the Google Drive. It looks something like this. If you look at 4 p.m., it says there's a small group overview for teachers in Classroom Building 101. This will be for myself and Ed Lilly. We'll have supper somewhere around between 5 and 6:30. At 6:30, I have to go over to the classroom building for a meeting. At 7:15, we'll line up by our church group, individually in the parade grounds, which is this large field. So still on Monday afternoon, at 7:30, we will have worship in what is Hatch Auditorium, the worship center. At 10 o'clock, by the way, there's free time from whenever worship ends through really the end of the night, but at some point at night we have to have church group devotions, and everything closes at 10 o'clock, so we will have church group devotions sometime around 10:15. At 11 o'clock we have to be on our porch, and then of course at 11:45 lights out. So Tuesday through Thursday, we have breakfast at 7:15. At 8:15, there is quiet time. So quiet time, I'm not going to enforce this. It is basically where your child will go and I can let them go off separately, but basically they can put in their headphones. They'll get this little book whenever they arrive at camp, and it has some quiet time devotion in it, one for each day, and then usually they print out a few devotions to last for like a full month after camp. I won't mandate it, but I will encourage it. But the thing that is required is during that time, everyone has to be quiet. At 8:45, we line up for worship. At 9 o'clock, we have the morning show, which is basically their morning worship service. At 9:40, we have the large group study. At 10:50, you are dismissed into small groups with your church. After this worship service in the morning, we will be split into small groups where we have our study. Lunch is at noon. At 1:30, there are track times and meal packaging. I'll talk about that later on at the end. But 1:30 is where free time officially starts, and it lasts until 4:30 is when stuff starts to close down, but 5 is where free time ends because that's when we're having dinner. At 6:45, you line up for your church group in the parade ground. 7 is worship. 10 o'clock, church group devotions. 11 o'clock on your porch. 11:45, lights out. And then Friday morning, we have breakfast, quiet time, line up for worship, a short morning session, and we leave campus at 10:30. So a few things that I wanted to talk about that will fit into the schedule. First, there's this thing called Fort Worship, which will take place on Wednesday. During the worship service, we will leave the Hatch Auditorium and go out into the adjacent fort. It is kind of shaped like a U, and there's a valley in the middle of it. We'll all go down there in the middle. When we were talking about the packing list, it said for people it is an optional to bring their own chair. So this would be a time where you could bring a chair to sit in rather than what we usually do is stand up. It's not mandatory that you bring a chair, it's just optional. The second thing that I wanted to talk about from the schedule is packing meals for Haiti and track times. So track times is part of free time. It's where the Be Do Tell event staff, they will host their own individual optional little games or activities. Sometimes they do tie-dyeing, sometimes they do girl talk, sometimes they do sports, 9 square, flag football, all these different things. Packing meals for Haiti. There will be one afternoon where we go to the chapel that is on campus. We watch an instruction video and we go and we pack meals for Haiti. And so this has been going on for a long time. They've been packing meals. They raise money and they send meals to Haiti at no cost to the country. So it's a beautiful ministry that Ms. Mary Johnson has been leading. For the packing meals for Haiti, it's not in our schedule because we get our designated time whenever we arrive at the camp. So at some point in one of our free times on one of the weekdays, we'll have this scheduled time where we go and we pack meals for Haiti. So if we leave Caswell around 10:30 on Friday morning, we should arrive back here at Broadus. Eating lunch on the way, we should arrive back here at Broadus sometime around 3:30. As always, whenever we're on the way, I will tell the kids to text you a more accurate time. So what is there to do during free time? There are tons of different things that you can do around the campus. There's fishing, tons of sports, tennis courts, mini golf, softball, volleyball, ping pong, basketball. They actually do have a basketball tournament. You sign up whenever you get there as a church and you compete against other churches' teams. There are, of course, there's a lot of history there. There's so much history, ghost stories, all that stuff there. Exploring the forts. There's kayaking, relaxing, obviously. And there's also a pool and a beach at least one day during our free time, I will personally drive our van over to the beach and have a Broadus Youth Ministry beach party at the beach. Just so you know, it's not the entire, strip that we can swim in. So chaperones, what do I need from you? I basically need chaperones who will be present, who will be there for me. If you are a parent, I would recommend you not follow your kid around. The campus is gated off, so nobody can come onto the campus unless they are with another church or they are on staff. And by the way, every single church is required to do a background check for all of their volunteers. So you don't have to worry about following your kids around, but do be available in case kids need a chaperone to go onto the forts, to go onto the forts. That's pretty much it. I will need at least 2 chaperones who are willing to drive separately, preferably ones with SUVs or trucks. One to carry extra students or luggage, and of course one of those will need to pull a trailer. I need 1 chaperone who will be willing to drive the van while I drive the rental. If possible, I would like 1 chaperone to be our photographer for the week. What would be ideal for me is to have 1 individual chaperone, adult, who is willing to lead the cooking for every single meal, while all the other chaperones help with 1 meal a day. An example would be like Sarah Donaldson leading every meal, and then myself and Blake helping at breakfast, Ed and Amy helping at lunch, Chuck and Susan helping at dinner. The duties needed at each meal, as we do have our own house with our own kitchen, are setting a stack of bowls and cups and plasticware, cooking the food, prepping the drinks, cleaning up afterwards. But as for cleanup, if you haven't heard already, we're doing this program that'll last the entire summer that I call Tribes. So every single student is split into 4 tribes on 4 different teams that are competing. And so I will designate 1 tribe each day to help clean up after each meal, to relieve the duties from some of the adults. So basically 10 kids can take care of the cleanup under the direction of the 1 adult who is over every meal. This can be anything from washing dishes, taking the trash out, sweeping, all that stuff. All in all, I've been with Caswell for 15 years, and I've seen lives changed. I've seen so many people, thousands and thousands of kids, make decisions to be led to Christ. I've seen so many, hundreds of people dedicate their lives to ministry. Decisions happen at Caswell. I'm really excited to see what God has in store with me and with your kids. So please turn in all the forms, the money, as soon as you can. There is a form, a digital form that helps me get a more accurate head count. Please take 20 seconds and fill it out for each person that you have going from your household. Also, one final thing for the parents, if you will. I really liked what Ed Lilly did last summer, so I'm going to steal that idea. Ed got you to write a letter to your kids. So look down in the description of this video and I'll have something similar, just a pre-camp letter for you to read. So thank you for watching the video. Let me know if you like this better than meetings. Just send me a quick text if you prefer this to meetings, or if you prefer meetings to this. Thank you for your time. I love y'all, and I hope to see your kids at Fort Caswell with us.